Hello friends, welcome back to VOWIAS. Welcome to the discussion on daily MCQ. Today is 13th of September 2021 and now we are going to discuss 5 current affair based MCQs. तो चलिए शुरू करते हैं. But first let us discuss the question that was asked yesterday, and the question was, the Rowlatt Act aimed at A. Compulsory economic support to war efforts, B. Imprisonment without trial and summary procedure for the trial, C. Suppression of the Khilafat movement, and D. Imposition of restriction on the freedom of press. And some of you have given the correct answer as well. It was Abzur Qureshi, Aarti Thakur, Rajesh Animreddy and Subham Basak who gave the correct answer. Now let's look at this question. So the Rowlatt Act basically, it aimed at imprisonment without trial and summary procedure for the trial. This Rowlatt Act was passed on the recommendation of the Sedition Committee chaired by Sir Sidney Rowlatt. This act has been passed hurriedly in the Legislative Council despite opposition from the Indians. So Gandhiji actually responded for this act because it is against the basic rights of Indians. So that's why Gandhiji called for a hartal on 6th of April 1919, and there were large-scale protests in all the major cities like Calcutta, Bombay, Delhi, Ahmedabad, etc. And on April 9th of 1919, two nationalist leaders, Saifuddin Kichlu and Dr. Satyapal, were arrested by the British officials without any provocation except that they had addressed the protesters' meeting and they were taken to some unknown destination. And this caused resentment among the Indian protesters who came out in thousands on April 10th to show solidarity. And on 13th of April, which is the Baisakhi day, large crowd basically from the neighboring villages gathered. They were unaware about the prohibitory orders in Amritsar in the Jallianwala Bagh. And during that time, the Brigadier General Dyer arrived in the scene with his men. And these troops surrounded the gathering, and they were under orders from General Dyer, and they blocked the only exit point and opened fire on the unarmed crowd, killing more than 1,000 people. So this is one of the cruel act that was done by the British, and this is called the Jallianwala Bagh massacre. And there was this Hunter Commission that was appointed. There was a Hunter Commission that was appointed to inquire. The Hunter Commission was appointed to inquire into the excesses that was done by General Dyer. Okay, so remember this Hunter Commission as well. Now let's move on. And guys, before we begin, just a small information. Daily these 5 questions are uploaded based on the current affairs. So in order to check your current affairs and in order to ensure that you cover the current affairs regularly, please do follow our initiative. You can find this PDF at free of cost from our Telegram channel. You can download it and you can revise it as well. And daily we upload this video on YouTube. Okay, so let's look at the first question. The first question is, consider the following scheme with respect to the UDAN. The following statement with respect to the UDAN scheme. Okay, UDAN is the Uday Desh Ka Aam Nagrik. And the first statement says it is an innovative scheme to develop the regional aviation market. Second one, this scheme will be jointly funded by the central government and the state governments. So we have to choose the correct option. And the correct option for this question is C, both 1 and 2. So the Civil Aviation Ministry has announced its agenda over the next 100 days, and that includes launching of 50 new routes under the UDAN scheme, rationalizing the value added tax, that is VAT, which is charged on the ATF, that is aviation turbine fuel. UDAN means Uday Desh Ka Aam Nagrik, and it was launched as a regional connectivity scheme by the Ministry of Civil Aviation. It is an innovative scheme to develop the regional aviation market. So developing the regional aviation is one of the main aim. The objective of scheme is to create affordable yet economically viable and profitable flights on the regional routes so that flying becomes more affordable to common man even in small towns. This scheme envisages providing connectivity to unserved and underserved airports of the country through the revival of the existing airstrips and the airports, and this scheme is operational for a period of 10 years. The UDAN 4.1 focuses on connecting smaller airports along with special helicopters and the seaplane routes. And some new routes have been proposed under the Sagarmala Seaplane Services as well. Sagarmala Seaplane Services is an ambitious project under the Ministry of Shipping with the potential, along with some potential airline operators. Under this scheme, nearly half of the seats in UDAN flights are offered at subsidized fares, and the participating carriers are provided a certain amount of viability gap funding, an amount that is shared between the center and the states. Now, what is viability gap funding? So, viability gap funding is basically, let's say this airline has quoted some price X. Okay, but originally there is some this is the price actually that is costing the airlines. Okay, the price X is the X which the customer is paying, but originally the price Y is what the airline has to bear. So this difference between Y minus X, okay, this will be borne by the government, and this is called the viability gap. So the gap between the ticket, you can say the gap between the price of the ticket, what the airline sells, and what it actually costs the airlines is known as the viability gap, and that gap is being funded by the center and the state government together. Okay. Next question. PRADAN portal, sometimes mentioned in media, is related to A. Ensure coal supply to the power plants, B. Data archives for ISRO mission, C. Monitor and record the efforts and initiatives of Educational Ministry, and D. Provide mentoring support to the MSME. And the correct answer for this question is the PRADAN portal is basically B. Data archive for ISRO missions. So recently, the Lunar Science Workshop 2021 was conducted by ISRO, the Indian Space Research Organization, to commemorate the completion of 2 years of operation of Chandrayaan-2 orbiter in the lunar orbit. According to the ISRO, the observation of the Chandrayaan-2 orbiter payload have yielded discovery class findings. Chandrayaan-3 is likely to be scheduled later next year, and the PRADAN portal is hosted by the Indian Space Science Data Center, which is the nodal center of data archives for ISRO missions. The data from Chandrayaan-2 mission is being released for wider public use through the PRADAN portal. So PRADAN portal is related to ISRO, remember this. Now let's see the third question. Consider the following statements. First one, methanol is a low carbon hydrogen carrier fuel produced from high ash coal, agricultural residue, CO2 from the thermal power plants and natural gas. Second one, blending of 15% methanol in gasoline can result in 100% reduction in the import of gasoline or crude oil. Which of the following are correct statements? A 1 only, B 2 only, C both 1 and 2, and D neither 1 nor 2. And the correct answer is A 1 only. For the day-to-day needs, people are dependent on the finite fuel energy sources, which is not only causing irreparable damage to human life, but also it is taking a toll on the environment. So that's why Niti Aayog's methanol economy program aims to reduce the dependency on the fossil fuel and provide a sustainable alternative to conserve the environment. So methanol is basically a low carbon hydrogen carrier fuel produced from high ash coal, agricultural residue, CO2 from thermal power plants and natural gas, and it is the best pathway for meeting India's commitment to the COP21. And Niti Aayog's methanol economy program aims at reducing the India's oil import bill, the greenhouse gas emissions, and converting coal reserves and municipal solid waste into methanol. Although slightly lower in the energy content than petrol and diesel, methanol can replace both these fuels in the transport sector, energy sector, and retail cooking. Because when the ethanol is being blended with the natural gas, or you can say when the blending of 15% of ethanol in gasoline can result in at least reduction of 15% in the import of gasoline or crude oil. In addition to this, also the greenhouse gases emission also will be reduced. Okay, so here the second statement says blending of 15% of methanol in gasoline can result in 100% reduction in the import of gasoline or crude oil. So even if you go by this logic, just by blending 15% of methanol, how can you reduce 100% of reduction in the import of any crude oil, which is not possible. So that's why the second statement is also wrong logically. Now let's look at the fourth question. With respect to the impact of depreciating rupee, which among the following options can be labeled as losers? That means when the rupee depreciates, that means when the value of rupee reduces, who among the following are going to lose? First one, people importing from outside. Second one, people investing abroad. Third one, foreign tourists in India, and we have to choose the correct option. A 1 and 2, B 2, C 1 and 3, and D 3. Okay. So now let's evaluate each and every option. First one, people importing from outside. So people importing from outside, that means the importers, if you see what they will do, they will have to pay more rupees because the rupee value has reduced. So rupee value has reduced means the number of rupees per dollar increases. Okay, that means let's say if the value of rupee is 50 rupees per dollar, for example, so when the rupee depreciates, it will become 60 rupees per dollar. That means the number of rupees per dollar is increasing. So that means when a person is importing any good from outside, then he has to pay more rupees. So he is definitely going to lose. First one is right. Second one, if you see people investing abroad, that means people who invest money outside the country. So even they will also lose, because they will have, during conversion they will get less dollars for the rupees. They will get less dollars because internationally they will invest in dollars. Okay, so that's why they are also going to lose. So third one, the foreign tourists in India, these are the ones who will gain, because the foreign tourists, when they convert their dollar into rupees, they will get more rupees. So that's why they will gain, and the correct answer will be A, 1 and 2 only. Okay, so this is a current affair from March 2021. So when the rupee depreciated to a 9-month low of 75.4 against US dollars, which is one of the biggest losers in the emerging market, and this has impact on various people. So the people who are going to lose are the importers, people seeking foreign education, people traveling abroad, people investing abroad, and people seeking medical treatment abroad. These are the ones who will lose a lot. But if you say people who will gain, they are people exporting from India, people receiving remittances from NRIs, and the foreign tourists who are traveling. Okay, so these are the ones who will lose, who will gain in fact. Now let's look at the fifth question. Consider the following Bhakti Saints. A. Dadu Dayal, second Guru Nanak, third one Tyagraj. Who among the following, okay, or you can say, who among the above were preaching when the Lodi dynasty fell and Babur took over? A. 1 and 3, B. 2 only, C. 2 and 3, and D. 1 and 2. It's a CSE 2013 question. Okay, so this is about the Bhakti Saints and their timeline. So when the Lodi dynasty fell and Babur took over, it was only Guru Nanak who was there. It was only Guru Nanak who was there. So the correct answer will be B, 2 only. Guru Nanak was born in 1469 and Babur defeated Ibrahim Lodi in 1526. So when Babur took over the Mughal dynasty, Guru Nanak was traveling to different parts of India and preaching Sikhism. Babur once met Guru Nanak during one of his travels. But Tyagraj, if you see, he came much later, and Dadu Dayal as well. Okay. So this is the same information which I have told you just now. Now let's look at the question of the day. And the question of the day is, which one of the following is responsible for the preparation and presentation of Union Budget to the Parliament? A. Department of Revenue, B. Department of Economic Affairs, C. Department of Financial Services, and D. Department of Expenditure. Do give your answer in the comment box, and tomorrow we will discuss this question. Okay, and guys, we are providing Vision Prelims Test Series Summary, Vision Mains Test Series Summary, Vision Monthly Magazine Summary, and Vision PT 365 Summary. And with less than 30 days, approximately 20 days left for prelims, it is important for you to revise all the important things. For this, do make this Vision PT 365 Summary and Vision Prelims Test Series Summary, because as you know, revision is what will help you to clear the exam. Revision will only make you confident. Okay, revision will only make you an officer. So just make the best use of this initiative and do gain the maximum. So that's it guys from my side. I'll see you again tomorrow with 5 more MCQs. Till then, keep studying and stay tuned. Jai Hind.